just gonna keep tapping upload until it does it. Nipples, nipples, nipples.
Nipple nurple. Purple nurple.
Right there it
Purple nurple.
There it is.
Hey! This is TPAW and
the Karnage.
And it's another episode of Crazy Peas, in which we talk about 48 Laws of Power, and we, discuss a bit more about it. I was listening to more of the audiobook. In fact, I've been recording my own audiobook recently for the book that you see right below that 48 Laws of Power icon. Last week, I was watching the playback for this episode and was like, I've got my book listed up there, but we've been talking about another book for a little while. Let's go ahead and find that image of the audiobook photo, so that it can at least be displayed, and that way you guys kind of get an image of what
That's what you
it looks
see. Like. The red and blue is what you see if you look up the book on Audible for the free. Well, it was free download. I don't know if it still is.
Might still be free.
I don't know. I got it when it was free, so I don't have to pay for it or think about it.
Yeah.
That's why I like having that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's actually a really good audiobook. Like
it's very interesting, the historical stuff that you learn.
Yeah.
That's where I get the kick out of it. Have you enjoyed that part of it at least? Whether or not you enjoyed the book or think it's turning you into a psychopath or a sociopath, the enjoyable part is...
Yeah, I'm almost on chapter 9.
Nice. But I mean, the historical part is the most important part, in my opinion.
Yeah. Let's see here. Title details.
Oh, there you go.
All it just says is play. Doesn't tell me whether or not it's on sale or not.
I think that's what the description was, but if you want to type it in,
I'm going to go to 48 Laws of Power. Which, by the way, Robert Greene, guy who wrote it, he's pretty fucking smart. It's included in the membership. That's why it's free.
So it's part of your Prime?
Yeah. So if you pay for your subscription to audible.com, then it is free.
Or if you have a Prime subscription.
Yeah, it's free. It's available including your membership. So anybody who has a membership can have the book. But which is pretty cool. It's pretty awesome. It's literally free knowledge at your disposal. Like, I know that he mentioned, being a sociopath or whatever, and I guess you can certainly see that with some of the stuff he talks about, but not really. Like,
well, that's where
talking about life.
One guy's like, I got a fourth of the way through it. So if it's 48 laws, that's like 12 laws. So once you get to law 12, he's like, this book's scary. And I'm like, I listened to the whole thing. I'm like, no, this is just information.
Yeah.
But also, I think it's the way mine and your brain process it.
Yeah.
Especially because I know we've been called sociopaths. Hey, I have.
Yeah.
I admit it. Did our audio go somewhere?
No, it's right there.
It did. It went up.
Oh, yeah.
You just didn't have it on screen.
Yeah. It went up. Let me go ahead and turn it down a little bit, because I want to make sure it's balanced.
We're not too loud. Yeah.
That way, we're not blowing somebody's eardrums out. We're not like blah 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 blah, and then the person goes fuck. They rip their earbud out, and you're just like ow. It would definitely get their attention.
That's your own stupidity because it's self volume control. Shit, down. I always think it's funny when I can hear it like normal volume, like me and you were talking, and I have my volume all the way to nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that person just cranked at the max and said, hee hee, have fun, asshole.
Yep. It's hot in here. I'm going to turn on the fan. I've actually had the fan off a lot in here, mostly because...
Just turn it to low.
Mostly because of the fact that whenever I'm in here and I'm recording the audiobook, you can hear the fan.
It's a shitty background noise.
Yeah, you can hear the fan. And it's like a static noise in the background where Amazon would consider it a interrupting experience, so I have to remove those things, and it sucks when the cat decides that they have the zoomies at 3 in the morning when I'm trying to record, because then you'll hear a very loud audible "so," and then you'll hear like something, you'll hear scratching against the cardboard, or you'll hear like whatever it is they're trying to get into, you'll hear it all. And, like, you'll still hear me talking, doing the narration. But then you'll hear their thudding.
That's like,
I played the playback.
Wearing the headphones.
Yeah.
I could hear anytime I had to adjust my hands on the mic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
Because
you're touching the mic. The mic, and it's like, you fucking asshole.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when we were starting to just pull out the one, the sound was decent. I'm like, okay, fuck having two mics, because because I fidget.
Yeah.
A lot, or if my hand gets too cramped in one spot, I gotta move it.
Well, it was cool and all seeing you having your own mic, and while it was cool having my mic off camera, so you didn't even have to see it. You just hear me. I kept trying to adjust the audio levels, and there was one episode where Karnage was like, level. Let's just do one mic and see how it goes. And he kept saying that over and over again, and I'm like, no, we gotta have two mics. I'll keep it balanced. And instead, he's just like, fuck it, let's just do one mic for one episode. I'm like, okay, fine. So I went ahead and relented and changed the thing on my mic so that it captures everything. It's on the more open, because it's got like different modes on it. And on one mode, it can literally hear when two people are like this, but the mic has to be facing a certain way for it to capture it right. And then another one is like a 30 to 40 degree angle, so I literally have to have my mouth like facing the exact direction of the microphone. So I've just got it on open. I think it was Open Omni or whatever the fuck it's called. It's where it captures all the room, so it's like a conference. So I've got it set on that mode, so that's why you can hear us so well. So, yeah, just a little bit of intel there on the tech aspect of things, but I've been learning a lot of engineering when it comes to audiobook stuff, because I used to think... Yeah,
because you wanted to jump into it and do it for your own book.
Yeah, like I've been learning a lot about, like, you can tell, like, I don't know if everybody can see it, but when you are recording audio on just an audio recorder, like not video like this, but in like...
Just on the mic.
Yeah, Audition and stuff, and you're having to like... It allows you to zoom in and out of it, so you can literally spread out the wavelength of the audio to the point where you could see like the little nodes that pop up when you take a breath or when you cough or whatever. Well, let's say you grab your balls and you sneeze. Like, you can hear that. You're like, achoo! Like, you could hear it and stuff. And, like, so, I was... Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep. I was listening to a couple seconds of it, and I'd be listening to me narrating the story, and I'm like, okay, and I have the book open so I can, like, follow along with what's being said, because Audible is anal retentive about you landing every single word that's written on the page. And so, I'll follow the text while I'm listening to myself talk, so I can make sure I'm... Not only am I enunciating, but I'm also not talking too fast, not talking too slow, and also making sure that, like, there are parts where I'll take a breath before I'm saying a sentence, you typically do when you speak. Or, like, maybe, like, I'll have carbonation in my stomach and I'm getting ready to burp. You can hear that in the audio recording. So I have to go in there and, and zoom in, like, real far, and then, like, little bits and pieces just delete those little aspects, and be a little anal retentive, because Audible is way more anal retentive than I am. Book promotion, yes! Hello, Cinema Macabre, how you doing? Remember the old days of the Gallows podcast? I do. And so... I've been learning a lot about audio production and, like, learning a lot about engineering, and I'm glad I'm not as OCD or as inattentive as I thought I was, but at the same time, I already know that Audible, they are...
Super anal.
Yes, they're intense. Like, you go on their website on acx.com, and you look up, like, their standards on, like, what they want, and you look up, like, what they'll accept, and it is intense. Like, you have to, like... have like certain audio levels, like dB levels and other things going on.
I mean, I would think that's what this would be the same thing.
Kind of, but not really. Like, that is less intensive and it's a bit more freeform. So like this, like, where we're just talking.
We're being random.
Yeah, we're being random. But like, it's not like audiobook production where you have to like make sure it sounds clean as fuck, and it is insane. Doing fantastic. That's good, man. That's good. Glad to hear. Yeah, no, I've been learning a lot about not only how I record audio, but how I talk too. Because like I'll play it back and I'll listen to it and be like, do I really do that when I talk? Like,
well, but see, that's like we've discussed where you don't even think about it, especially because it's a book you wrote. You auto change your voice per character.
Kind of do.
It's like most people who are really good and have made millions of dollars off of being the voice for certain book series. It's because everybody likes the way they read the book and they get so used to it when they try to do somebody else. No, go back to the other person. We like them better.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I actually played, because like with the software I use, Adobe Audition, it allows you to export files. If you don't know what you're doing with any of it, you can get lost really fast. But I've watched like hours of footage on different people who are very seasoned and know what they're doing. And so I have gotten like an intro tutorial on how to do it. And so I went in and every time I recorded a chapter recently, I would export the version of that file because I save it in draft form. I go and I record the initial recording, and then what I'll do is I'll save that so that just in case there's like a piece that I liked that I'm like listening back to and go, wait a minute, I'm not going to throw that away. That's actually a good take. And I'll take like 10 seconds of that and then paste it. And or like I'll just have it as just an archive. But like the new draft, I went ahead and exported the MP3. And then when me and the wife went to go down somewhere, we went to go down to Build-A-Bear, and on the way back,
because y'all are old fogies who want to act like your kids.
Whatever, inner child.
I went
into we went in and we were in the car. I connected the phone to Bluetooth, and I was like, you know what? You know what I haven't done? I haven't listened to, like, it's not perfect. It's not fully edited or anything or polished. But at least the person that's in the car is my wife and not somebody else, and then they can't be like, you're an idiot, you sound like shit. So I went ahead and I played the audiobook, the draft, and I was like going, how would this sound on the car? So I played it, and I was like, as we were driving back, there were parts of it, because of me, I'll narrate the story as narrator mode, but when the characters are talking, that's where my voice changes. Like, I'll growl, if the character's growling, or I'll change it to like a more demented talk if it's like, a Braxton or another villain character that are supposed to sound like that. Or if like it's like a kid, I'll sound like a kid or try to sound like a kid. And so like she was listening to like the changes with my voice and like listening to the inflections and listening to how it jumps up and down. And there were a couple times where she was sitting there and I'm like, I look over, I'm like watching her reaction, and she's just like, oh shit, like that was the look on her face, and I was just like going, oh, that good, huh? Like, this doesn't sound like shit. And she's just like, this is sounding really professional. And I'm like, thank you.
Like I told you, it's something.
Listening to yourself speak and present is an extremely powerful way to quickly identify bad habits and course correct. Oh, hell yeah. Especially me, who's like ridiculously, painfully self-aware and will like listen to it and be like, fuck. Like, you listen, if I showed everybody the outtakes of like me recording the audio narration, like, you would not hear the polished version.
You need to record that, and that's your YouTube shorts for TPAW's Playground.
Yeah,
you could use that as shorts, just you making fun of yourself.
It's great that you do that as a matter of practice. Yes. No, I will literally record like 6 takes of the same line, because like I'll read it out the way I wanted to, but then I'll be like, wait, in the middle of the recording, suddenly I get an idea of like, let's try this voice. No, wait, let's try this voice. And so suddenly you'll hear like 6 versions of the same fucking line said different ways, and I'll either in the next draft I'll like save the one I like the best and I'll just keep the original one stored, and then or I'll just simply delete them. But like usually I just keep them, but like I want to keep them so that way like later on, if like let's say we get halfway through the book and I have a bunch of backlog of like the same line, different lines or whatever, I can listen to that and listen to how it sounded and be like, let's replicate that. Like, there was one time the other night where I'm trying to talk like a character who's meant to sound like Venom from the movie Venom with the Tom Hardy one. And so there were times in the story where I would, like, slip out of that voice and I'd sound like a version of the voice but not the exact thing. And so I would be like, we are Venom. And it's like, replicating Tom Hardy's interpretation of Venom. And then I would sound like other characters and bounce around. And Like, it was just me practicing with it. But I already know that I'm going to go in there and I'm going to cut out all the stuff that isn't working or the stuff that, don't want. And then you'll have the smooth progression of it. Because, like, I'll literally zoom in and I'll give myself 5 seconds. That was one of the tips of advice. It was, you say a line and then you wait 5 seconds. The reason why that is, or 10 seconds, because you want to give yourself time to breathe. You're going to end up cutting the breathing out anyway. But you give yourself 5 or 10 seconds, and then you wait, and then so when you're playing it back, there's this long delay of gap period in which you're like, nothing's happening. Oh wait, that's right, I'm breathing. and then like,
well,
5 seconds later you start talking again.
With the cutting it, it's like, okay, there's no this on the audio. Okay, that's the part to cut out because that was me taking 2 breaths.
Yes, that's the thing is it also when you stretch out the wave on it. You could see the bumps, like the little bumps, and you could see like
and that's
the
what
jumping.
I like.
And
that part's always fun, especially when
it looks like a fucking heartbeat.
Well, I like it when you do it with the little bit more. It catches each of your tone differentials on your voice.
Yeah.
Like they always show for like the CSI and those sort of shows, like we can tell if it's you or not. No, this isn't them. This is something that sounds like them, or this is a recording. See how it's slightly different here?
Yep.
That sort of stuff. I'm just like, yeah, I just want to see that.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna.
'Cause that's fun.
I'm actually anticipating playing with the plugins I got because I got a lot of plugins for.
Of course.
For it, like there's like deep breathers where like it helps you remove any breaths that you don't catch. It also you can change the inflections of your voice. You can also play around with the effects, and you can play around with making it more smoother sounding. So that, like even if your mic is like professional as fuck and like you have like a pop filter and you yourself are pretty well eloquent with how you word things, you could make it sound even smoother than that, like butter, with the plugin. And so I've been using industry standard plugins to assist on this process because I was like going, wait a minute, I can either spend over $1,000 on plugins or I spend $20 a month and for at least a few months to see how it works, and then like
decide if you want to keep it or just screw
right.
it. Because I do it better by myself without all that bullshit. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so I wanted to play around with it and see how it works, and so it's like kind of like a new toy I'm playing with, but I am enjoying the shit out of narration, like more than I ever thought I would. Like Amber was talking about how she's that she always wanted to do voice acting, and like that's part of what her streaming thing's supposed to be, is she wants to do voice acting, and I'm like, okay, then do it. Like I'm doing audiobook narration right now,
do you know
so I'm doing voice acting.
Where she gets that from?
Who?
Judy. Where she gets the inclination for that?
Tara Strong. What? You?
Oh, I voice over everything, dude. I always have.
Tim, I'm digging the DBZ shirt.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, he loves Dragon Ball Z. Like, you walk in his living room, and there's, like, a wall of Dragon Ball Z. I'm not even kidding. Represent! Yes. Yes.
I decided to wear this one instead of the Alpha shirt I usually wear.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. He always wears his Alpha shirt usually when we're podcasting, but I guess he decided it. Today
was Vegeta Day. I decided, because I've gotten more compliments today wearing this shirt than I do wearing my regular DBZ shirt or Dragon Ball Super or whatever shirt. Everybody's like, hell yeah, kick ass, nice shirt. Like, all fucking day. So I'm like, alright, this is the shirt for
Kamehameha! Kamehameha! There you go.
No. Gatling gun!
And so when he showed up, actually, I thought we were going to the gym, like, because he used to work out in that shirt. And so when he showed up, I was like, "Are we doing a podcast or are we going to the gym? Should I bring my backpack?"
No, we're just gonna get drinks and then podcast.
Yep.
I don't know. Last week I just threw it on for a shirt.
Yeah.
And.
LOL Tim, yes. That's a new hashtag. Hashtag Tim, yes.
Put a voice to that, edit the voice, make it sound weird and kinky. Okay, that is the new intro.
Yes. Yeah, no, I as far as this narration goes, I know that people are probably going to be like, Thomas, narrate what? But I honestly, I've read my kids bedtime stories for
Podcast at the
years.
gym.
Podcast of the yes, we were doing that actually. Like
we tried to do that a couple times, but because of the way my phone acts with the Wi-Fi there, it's no.
Yeah, it didn't end up working too well.
The signal's not good enough there, just on regular cell phone service.
We did try though. Like we were literally sitting on the cardio machines, and we're doing cardio for like 20 minutes just to bullshit and see if the thing would work. Because with him, it's always let's try this and see what happens. That's usually what his adage is, and so.
Yeah, because it's like, that doesn't work. Are you sure? Have you tried? No, I haven't tried. Click. Let's see. Yep.
Grenade! And so we threw that grenade, and we tried to see what would happen, and we got some quality content going on there that he later on put on TikTok, but we didn't end up being able to do like a podcast at the gym, because we talked about it for like 2 months straight, right? Like every time we show up, we would really we'd be like, we should hook up to the Wi-Fi and see what happens, and see if we could just talk about stuff.
And then
because we were talking anyway, and
the iPhone said, "Hell no! It's a public Wi-Fi. You have now disabled your front camera capability."
Yep.
And I'm like, you fucking asshole.
Yeah. No, it was one of those things. So we just had to deal with it. I'm surprised people think it's odd for you to do voice narration acting. You have a great voice, my dude. I appreciate that. A big deal. You know that, JB. Like, oh my god. Because podcasting with you was an awesome experience, and it's part of what kept me going, honestly, for a while there. And then like
some of that lunacy.
Yeah, and then when we went to find out vampires are real at the circus place, and then after that, him and I ended up deciding to podcast just cause. And now I've been doing like guest episodes with other people on Twitter, and then been doing the podcast with Paul, and it's been I love podcasting.
You've been doing podcasts with a lot of people.
It's, at this point, I'm used to the sound of my own voice. I used to be weirded out by the sound of my own voice, but now I'm just like, my face and my voice is all over the internet now.
Well, I remember listening to some of the first podcasts, and I'm like, why do I sound like Nephi? Oh, I know why. And then I started to change it until this sounds like what I hear from my own point of view.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize they'd done it until like, I think it was 2-3 podcasts back. I'm like sitting there listening to it just to see what it sounds like, and I'm like, it sounds like what I hear with my own ears. Okay, I figured out how to, on podcasting, to either, add or subtract the little bits from my voice to make it, this is me.
Yeah.
And I love it, so.
Yeah, I actually found that audiobook narration is a new outlet. Like even though, I love writing, and even though, I'm big on writing, and I always have been, always probably will be, and probably long after my voice has decided to go, I'll still be writing. But, at the same time, voice narration and acting, it is fun as fuck.
If you want to know the...
vampires are absolutely freaking real. I told you.
My lunacy on vampires and why the current thought of vampires is they're allergic to sun, you're gonna have to go backwards a few podcasts, because we talked about that, about why vampires are allergic to sun, werewolves are allergic to silver and stuff like that, like 5-10 podcasts.
Yeah, it was
maybe more.
Yeah, and some
it's been a good while.
And some of the stuff we talked about ended up in the books. There was
but
some
that's when we're
mythology
not doing
stuff
it on
they
the
put in
podcast.
there.
That's when we're just driving around.
The Vampire Circus is proof. Yes, it is. Okay, so for context, everybody, I went to the FearCon with good buddy Sam Macabre, and they had a circus act that was very much like Circus du Soleil from Vegas, but it was the morbid horror version with vampires and shit. And
I heard
they
it
were
was really good. So.
They were Olympics. There was hanging off chandeliers in midair. There was so much stuff that they were doing that I was like, how are they pulling this off? They've got to be vampires. And so it was a really hot redhead chick that was there that was all vampiristic and gothic, and it was awesome.
Well, think about it this way. If you do it enough,
yeah,
it's just like at the gym. You lift enough weights, eventually you'll just be able to lift the heaviest shit in the world. It's acrobatics. It's just acrobatics in general.
Yeah.
You have to like the kids who do acrobatics as kids. Usually it's females, not always, but if that's what you always did, like your mom took you to acrobatics every Saturday, that's part of your life. You literally are so physically fit. Oh, you don't think I could do that? Okay, I'm gonna climb up one pole all the way to the roof and hang off the pillar, off the the roof and just go. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Why is this hard for you guys?
Especially when like you start at a young age, like.
Yeah.
You know, those parents that are doing that. Yeah.
Doing that, or your mom or dad decides to sign you up for something like that because it's good for your health, and you keep on that path, then you'll have it made till you're an adult because you'll always be fit, and if you keep doing it, you can become one of the teachers.
I just plugged your show on the group page. Fuck yeah.
Nice.
Nice, buddy. Thank you. Appreciate that. Oh,
it'll
yes.
be
All
also
that.
You can become a teacher and teach other people acrobatics, so that way every generation after you is healthy and whatnot. That's like me always talking about, and us always talking about on here and everywhere else about we go to the gym. You try to lift heavy stuff, I just lift.
I go for it. I double down.
Because I know I don't need to lift the heavy weights, but if need be, like when we did workout on Tuesday,
yep,
doing the bench, with the dumbbells, you left them there. You went to put some back. I'm like, oh, they're just 30, so I'll pick them up. I picked them up at her knees. She was like,
I wasn't even surprised. I was just like, okay.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, no, I wasn't even surprised. I was like, okay, like, you know, I'm the one who's the crazy ass that will be like, oh, we're gonna do this workout. I wonder if I could do this much, and then I do it. But like, there was like the standing rows where you're lifting the dumbbell up to your chest, the shoulder workout. I was doing 65s just because I could, and trying to. I think I was trying to do a Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, where he's doing the 100-pounders. And so I tried I did the 50 at first, but the 50 was too light.
It's go over 2 hands, lift up the 100 pounds, go over to the little bench, sit down, lay down.
Yeah, like I was.
Either you'll blow out a peck or you'll do it.
Yeah, like for me, it's all logical. Like it's if you can handle the weight, then do it. If you can't handle the weight, don't worry about it. And so I did the 50-pounders just to see if I could do it, because that's half the time. That's me at the gym. Is, ooh, I wonder if I could do this much. Nope, not doing it. Or, oh, okay, let's do another 20 reps. And so I'll sit there and do things.
Alan's ass.
Yeah, we did. We did.
He hurt his legs and he's like, I'm done going to the gym, y'all fuckers.
We did the mild baby weight workout that we typically do when we bring somebody new to the gym. We don't want to scare anybody, and so we do the light workout.
I thought it was light because we didn't put on a lot of weight, and he's a big guy, so I figured, big guy, you're carrying a lot of weight anyways. Just to be able to do this is like freaking bullshit workout, because this is like your everyday shit.
Yeah, you're a dwarven barbarian. Yes. Yeah, no,
I guess that's one way to put it.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I went to go help out one of my siblings with moving one day, and my dad was there helping him out. And my dad is not used to being upstaged at all especially when it comes to weight stuff. And like, he always known me as the, scrawny kid, the scrawny teenager that was never really like, I was average strength, but I wasn't like where I am now. And he literally wanted me to help him move a fridge. Like he was moving the fridge. He got turned red in the face, and then I went ahead and it was like those mini fridges. It was not even that big, not big of a deal. But he grabbed it. He was turning red in the face. He was trying to lift it over the staircase, and I was like, okay, I'll go get it. And he's like, here, let me help you. And I'm like, I don't think so. I mean, you can help if you want, like, help with balancing or whatever. And so I literally grabbed it by the bottom, and, like, he had his hand on it, like, on the side, not really even doing much with it. I grabbed it and just went, and that was it. And he was just all like, I helped. And I'm like,
okay.
And I just kind of moved on, and he was super angry or something. But, like, then
I like that.
Yeah.
You're a barbarian.
Yeah, and that's what I was reading off. And so then Nico literally was like, Scrobby, you're not even Scrobby anymore. You're a barbarian. It's like,
I remember you telling me that when I came to get you later that night to go work out or swim or whatever, and you're like, yeah, this is what happened today.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah,
it's... I apparently I'm the strongest person in the family now because they've all become weaklings, or it's because I'm no longer a weakling.
Their strength never changed, but mine went up. So
yeah.
So it's to the point where when I was helping my brother move, and him and I used to always be the same level of strength, and he was grabbing the couch.
Just proven that one the one time we took him to the gym.
Oh yeah, and he was carrying a couch, and I went ahead and grabbed the other side of the couch. I went to the heavy end because for me it's nothing. But he went to the heavy end, I put myself at the heavy end. He was at the light end. He was supposed to lift it up above his head to get it over the angle, and he kind of went like this. And I was just kind of like, Andrew, just lift it up higher. And he's like, I can't. And I'm like, fine. And so I grabbed it by the side, lifted it up, and not supposed to happen, but I lifted it up, balanced it on its side, and then literally picked it up from the bottom, and then just lifted it up a little bit, and walked it down the rest of the staircase. And Andrew's like, you're not supposed to be able to do that. And I'm like,
says who?
What? I was like, if I can, I will.
When you told me that he told you that you're not supposed to be able to do that. You don't think I can do it, you mean? And I proved you wrong? Or that's not humanly possible? Because, I'm sorry, the human body and mind is so... There's no limit.
Yeah.
The only limit I have physically is balance. You want me to carry that? Okay. You want me to go upstairs? Alright, have two other motherfuckers do it. Yeah. What? No, I can pick it up and carry it. I just don't do stairs. Fuck off.
I was literally carrying the dresser, I had Jose remove the dresser drawers from his dresser.
I just picked this some bitch up.
Yeah, not because of the fact that the dresser drawers made it heavy. It's the fact that it was super awkward. I was
because they
picking it
slide
up.
Out.
Yeah, I was picking it up, but I didn't want to cause it to drop or to fall over and then break it a million tiny pieces. I was more worried about it breaking than me, and so. I had Jose grab the middle drawers out. I told him to leave the top drawers and the bottom ones. We removed those too. So I literally just grabbed it by the middle with my arm and carried it like a shield out to the truck. I was just and just walked it off to the truck. And he was just all like, was that even heavy? And I'm like, no. It was doing weights. I literally joked around and grabbed it by the middle and then went 1, 2, 3, just because I could. But it's nice being strong. It's nice being able to go to the gym and do that.
I thought, but see, this is what I like. It's where you are now compared to what you were saying at the very beginning. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know. Are you sure? And now you're like, yeah, give me heavy shit, mother.
Yeah.
This is fun.
Yeah, no, it is, and it's even more fun to be able to, have people see it too. Also, it's. One thing when you're talking about it and saying, oh, this is all stuff I can do, because the average person dismisses it and goes, oh, yeah, you're just all talk. It isn't all talk when they're, literally watching me just grab something because I can and just walking off with it. And they're like, how the fuck did he...
Well, that's this trailer hasn't been moved in 5 years. Clunk.
Yeah.
The hell? What? That's not that much. And they crap their pants. I love that.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Especially me being the handicapped guy.
Yeah,
Are you sure you're handicapped? Okay. Where do you want it?
Yeah. Well, see, every kid always dreams of becoming Batman. I didn't become Batman, but I did become strong.
Mine is Wolverine because... because of the disability for me.
Yeah.
It's you can beat the shit out of me, but I will insta-heal. I always thought that was kick-ass.
Yeah.
I mean, Goku is awesome, and so is Vegeta.
You and I are kind of
but Wolverine,
dual Wolverines
shoot
over here.
Me.
Yeah.
Bitch, please.
We just don't have the healing factor. That would be
That's
nice.
all I want.
Yeah, because if you had the healing factor, you wouldn't be on disability.
No, I still would, but I would I'd manage to get away with doing stupid shit.
Well, if you had healing factor like Wolverine, your body would never be in disrepair. That was the advantage he had as Wolverine, is that no matter how many times he got shot, bombed, or anything, or stabbed,
my
he'd
issue...
heal.
Well, I've actually worked this out because I've thought about it for decades.
Mm-hmm.
Since I was 8, 9 years old.
Yeah.
I've been working the whole dynamic of it. Putting that genetic abnormality into the the disability genetics I have, the fun part would be I trip, I stumble, I hurt myself. I trip, I stumble, I hurt myself. I go, ow, fuck. And do what I normally do, like pop my ankle back into place by kicking my foot backwards, my knees, my hip.
Yeah.
But it's to pop it back into place, and then if anything's broken, it literally just snap and then resets itself as straight. And it's like, all right, let's go do that again. I'm not dead. Let's try again.
Yeah. And what's funny is, yeah, I know you will do that. Like, there was one time we were at the gym, and I say it a lot now. This one time at the gym, it's a phrase. If I were to,
that's the life.
I would probably, and if I typed it up
6 months ago at the gym, we did this.
Yeah, if I summarize the stories and like put them in a Google Doc folder and then put gym, you'd probably find this giant pattern of that phrasing being used. But like
excessive.
Yep. Yeah, but like there was this one time at the gym. Basically we were lifting weights, and then he had to kick his legs because he has CMT. And when you have CMT, eventually your legs just say fuck you and stop wanting to work, and then you have to kick
try
them.
to pop out of place. So I literally have to kick back so hard. Everybody calls it a donkey kick because I kick back so hard, it pulls it out and pops it back in.
Yep.
It actually sets it better than it normally sits. That's the only reason also that I can walk and still do all the shit I do, because I learned that fact when I was like 16, that I could do that.
Yeah, and for all of you guys that think that, you know, Karnage over here just likes to talk smack about a CMT, my wife went to the foot doctor. That's a thing, by the way, apparently. Specialization in feet and legs. But like we went to the foot doctor, and because like we were hiking up in Ogden. We were hiking up there, and she fell like 5 or 6 times. Like I literally got to the point where I wasn't even hiking anymore. I was just guiding her with a stick or with my hand, and guiding her downhill. And so we got her down there, and we managed to make it to the car. And she spent like the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks suffering a concussion. And we ended up
twisted ankle.
Yeah, we ended up in the hospital anyway because the twisted ankle and shit. And I literally brought up the concussion thing. I was like, by the way, she might have suffered a concussion. And so he like took out the flashlight, looked in her eyes, and he's like, "You should be fine with a concussion." And I'm like, "That doesn't sound fine." But he was just like, "No, we'll monitor it over the next like few hours while we're tending to her feet."
You know what that tells me? Oh, let's see what happens, doctor. Okay, fuck you.
Yeah, no,
because then I'll dispute you on the bill. Well, they kept me there for 3 hours, even though they only needed 30 minutes, because they didn't have a fucking clue on what the hell was wrong with me, even though I told them what was wrong with me. So I'm not paying this bill. Kiss my ass. Talk to my lawyer.
Yeah, and so weeks later, we go to the foot doctor, and the foot doctor literally looks at her leg and goes, "Yeah, you got CMT." And she like, and he literally like, he's like recording it into his voice recorder, like he's narrating. And, like, you know, for his notes.
I must have documents,
and so
that way you can't sue me.
Yeah, and so he starts, like, saying, you know, repeated phrasings and, like, explaining what CMT is and explaining, like, what leads to this or what leads to that. And, like, the general gist is that she's had it for, like, most of her life. And there's a lot of people around her that, like, tell her that she's full of shit or tell her that it's not a real thing. And I was like, well, the doctor just said you do. And she's got, like, the crow's feet, where, like, her feet arch, like, her toes arch and shit. And so she's got, like, the interesting foot condition.
Part. They call it crow's feet, but with CMT, it's not crow's feet. Your feet just have
they have, like,
excessively high arch.
Yeah, she's got that arch.
That's why when I had the surgery with the
he said it was kind of
ankles, they flattened my foot to lower my arch because my arch was so big because my foot, because it never set flat.
Yeah. So like
the weird way I always walk.
She's got like this weird version or fusion of crow's feet and CMT because apparently because of how high her feet arch and the way they're shaped and the way that like her leg is fused to her foot with the ankle and the tendons and stuff. she's kind of got a both. And so the guy told her to keep her feet up and then eventually seek physical therapy and then start going to the gym. And I was like repeating stuff that this guy over here, this crazy mofo over here, kept saying. Yeah, kept saying about her going to the gym and her keeping her feet active and all those things that he said.
Walking and bike riding.
Ad nauseum. Like there's people in that were in the pool or the hot tub where he's literally told this story like a million times. And I'm sitting there telling.
It's my constant.
I'm telling like a summarized version of all that to the doctor, and the doctor's just like, yes, that is true.
That's what you should do.
Yeah, no, that's that. He's all like, if after the physical therapy and after she's gone through a few of the steps, in doing so, we will then get her going to the gym more, and from there she'll be able to get her feet better prepared for later on lifespan when her feet will definitely get worse. And I'm like, I don't like the worst part, but okay.
Okay, the indefinitely worse. Me. Look at me. I 90% of the time, or 80% of the time, you see me walk around normal, but every random time, it's usually at the 80% of me just walking around normal, I stumble, trip, or my leg tries to go out, and you see me, and then I fix myself.
Yeah.
That's a constant. You just have to get used to it. Once you can make it so even you tripping and falling into a wall means once you get used to how often you fall, you realize when you're tripping and stumbling that, okay, you can control it so that way you're not plowing through a wall and just destroying a house. It makes it more manageable.
Yeah, because he will literally plow through a wall. Like, if the wall is not strong enough to hold Karnage, well, the wall's about to die.
If I can trip, stumble, and blow through a wall, you need better construction. You should have better people build your house. Done.
It'll be like that Shazam movie. Not Shazam. It was might have been Black Adam. Black Adam. It's where like the Rock is just bursting through walls like the Kool-Aid Man.
That's what I was gonna say. It's the Kool-Aid Man thing. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's me. It's not. Oh yeah. It's holy shit.
I was watching that movie one night, and I got through the first third of the movie, and after the seventh wall he broke, I was just like watching this. I'm like, does he not know what a door is? And then the eighth time I was like, oh yeah. That's what it makes me think of.
But see, okay, I've heard some jokes and and a lot of stuff about the Kool-Aid Man. He needs glasses. He thinks he's going through a door. He's so big he just busted through the wall instead. Because if you look at most of the old commercials, the door's like right there. Yeah. So he has like he's farsightedness or something.
Yep.
Or nearsighted because he can't see far away, and he just shit. There wasn't a door. Oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
My insurance just went up. Here's some Kool-Aid.
And what's funny is when he goes to the wall, he like steps forward too. So he like steps into the gap of where the wall is. So it's like he's purposely opening the wall like a door, and purposely just disregarding the door itself.
2 more steps.
Right,
we're good. Let's do this.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Like, as far as like the audiobook goes, because I know that we like to lose track. A lot of times, we don't like to lose track.
Fun.
We'll have a topic we're talking about, and then we'll eventually zero back to the topic. But in the meantime, you're going to take 18 pit stops. So as far as audiobook creation goes, it has become it's a hobby that I didn't know I ever needed. Like, it's a hobby. Right. Like, I aspired to have an audiobook of my stories, right? And I always thought it would be someone else that narrated it. And then I realized, I'm like, what if I just create an author version? And then, like, I had people be like, well, it would be kind of weird, or maybe you should ask a celebrity to do it, because then because the people will know that, and the brand name recognition.
Groups, you were telling me with some of the, what's the app? Quest?
Twitter?
Or whatever, your little groups.
You're talking about
Discord.
Discord
Your Discord groups.
Yeah.
Yeah. How
quite a few of them were kind of negative about it.
Well, you were saying how some of them were like, yeah, I like it when you read it.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah. There was the one group, there was the one that Jonas is part of. He was actually heavily advocating for me to be the audiobook narrator because I was talking about hiring somebody based on like feedback I got and the fact that it is
from other idiots.
It makes more sense to get somebody else to do it because then you'll make more money or whatever. But like Jonas was like, no, it's your book, like you narrate. He's like, when I've had you narrate in our server and have had you tell the story, like we love it when you do that. So do that instead. Like he's like, if you decide later on after,
you talk about it, I'm like, well, yeah.
He's like, if you decide afterwards to do a celebrity thing, then cool. But he's like, try it yourself first. And so I did. So I've been trying it, and it has been fun as hell. Like more fun. Like not more fun than this per se, because there's a lot of repetition. There's a lot of rereading something out of like my brain knowing that I wrote this line and yet it wants to say it a different way, or maybe like I said a word. I was trying to say the word right, and I said it like weirdly, like I didn't enunciate properly, and so it doesn't come off right.
No, it's you.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Like let's say it's abruptly, and your brain says abruptly, or like it says it a different way.
It's one of those weird things where clearly they know the word you're saying, but you're slightly fucking it up.
Yes. Or maybe like your ADHD brain keeps going on super speed, and so instead of like processing the sentence the way you're supposed to, especially if I have a bad habit of writing run-on sentences. I learned this.
Because you run on talk.
Yeah.
Just like I do.
I learned this especially when I was reading out the story, because I was reading out the sentence, and then like I stopped halfway through and went, son of a bitch. And then like I had to stop and be like, let's rewind back to that sentence. Okay, read it out, and this time, because I gave my brain a break for 5 to 10 seconds, I then reread out that sentence from that point in the story, because at first I was like 3 pages in, and then I'm like, son of a bitch. And so like I went back to the beginning of that sentence and I read it out, and I actually steamrolled through it and didn't fuck up or anything. And so I was like, okay, so every 3 pages take a break.
Well, but see, it's also that thing. You write how you speak. And if you speak like one of your characters does, they're going to talk like you do. If you just keep running at it at 150 miles, that's how the character's going to speak.
Yeah, that's true. Heading out for the night, my dudes. It was great seeing you both. Thank you for stopping by,
my man. Easy, dude.
You're awesome. Thank you very much for stopping by and hanging out with us, and I'm off camera. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon. Yeah, so as far as like the audiobooks go, you're right. Whenever I'm narrating a Braxton, for instance, my brain goes Joker for some reason.
Yep.
Like
you were talking about that. You try to do the Mark Hamill.
Right. Yes. That's kind of the voice I go for. Because if I was talking like the Heath Ledger one, it'd be more wry and sarcastic. Whereas the Mark Hamill one is just otherworldly. Like with the way he animates, it's very cartoonish. And so I was trying to mesh that with Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger, because that was the original inspiration. And I played around with it, and there are some times where he'll sound more like Freddy, or sometimes he'll sound more like Joker. Kind of in the middle there. But
depends on the situation.
Yeah, and I've been playing around with different versions. In fact, there was we were listening to one of the chapters today in the car, like I was saying earlier, and there's a part, because the beginning is very Braxton heavy, but there was a part where he's sitting there and he's got dialogue and he's talking to Peter. And so I'm narrating as a Braxton, and you can hear the word delivery, you can hear the voice inflection, and the a Braxton, that sort of thing, and just like him talking and stuff, and being like, "Hello, Peter," and Amber was sitting in the passenger seat and was listening to him, being like, "It's so interesting, like how you make him like cartoonish." And I'm like going, I mean, there was one time where me and I said real name, but like I was like, Karnage was talking to me, and we were both speculating that the reason why he sounds so cartoonish and otherworldly is because at this point in his life, he's trying to get back with the love of his life, and so he's kind of going crazy, like he's lovesick, and he's kind of going crazy because of the fact that his wife isn't wanting to be around him.
And isn't his wife anymore.
Yes, and so he's kind of stuck in that flux period that you get when someone that you believe you love is running away from you or wanting to do their own thing. There's even a line in there where he's like, where he makes a commentary about it, and he makes a comment and says like, I don't remember exactly how the line goes, but he basically says,
"Don't you remember me? We were in love."
Yeah, like there were that's actually in the story too. But like he was like was telling Peter or somebody else in the story. He's all like, she's decided to play her own game. And so he's like,
oh, okay.
And like he's, and so he's like basically talking to the character about how he has decided to play his own game while she's playing hers, and he's gonna come out on top anyway. And so
we've talked about that. Everybody sees it as his villain story. He sees it as his hero story.
Yeah,
because he's trying to do everything he can to show the woman he loves, who's been reborn, that he still loves her no matter what body she has. He will always love her because of who she really is.
Yeah, and so, and what's interesting is that later in the story, the reader's going to automatically assume that he's doing like guilt trips or he's doing like manipulation tactics to groom her, but maybe he is capable
I gotta
of.
find the. No, not that one. It's one I sent you. When I'm looking, because I think I sent it to myself too. I was talking about superhero. Okay, that's not loading. I'll have to connect to the Wi-Fi in a minute. But, you're good, dude. You gotta grab the big jug. One of the things on one of the little notes I was hearing, which is what you're talking about right now.
Yes.
Excuse me. But it's the thing of what's the commonality in the superhero and the supervillain story? They are orphans.
Trauma, orphans.
One is trying to keep the world, safe for everybody, while the other one's trying to stop everybody from doing what they're doing, and I'll make it safe by forcing y'all
to
stop killing each other and being horrible people.
Yes.
It's like I've said about Lucifer. Lucifer's not the bad guy, but everybody's claimed him as the bad guy because he didn't agree with the plan, so he got shoved into hell to rule over all things evil.
Yeah.
It's that sort of dynamic, if that makes sense. So.
Yes. Yeah, no, it does, definitely. And one thing I can't wait to play with later on in this particular rendition of the story is having Beelzebub, having a Braxton, Murdrin, and a few of the other characters who the average reader will assume are all bad guys, and they're all in the same room, but there is no bad guy in that scenario. You might assume Beelzebub would be the good guy because that's Peter's grandfather, but they're all neutral characters.
Is it the thing like in Tangled, where they go into the bad guy bar and the main guy character is like the worst bad guy?
Yes.
Because he's the biggest bitch, but yet they all prove that they're not really bad guys, they've just been shit on. That's why they act the way they act, sort of thing.
Yes.
We're not bad guys, those fuckers just try to do this, so they're gonna try to fight me, I'm gonna give them a fight, sort of thing.
Yeah. And then
okay.
And then then you realize as an adult that you're watching these people at a bar, and they're literally just like the people you probably saw just down the street at the real bar in real life.
Yeah.
They're just disenfranchised people you've been shit on.
It's the viewpoint thing. Like all the bad guys sitting in a bar, shooting the shit, talking about how to take the bad guy out, or the good guy, which from their point of view is the bad guy because he's always stopping them from trying to improve the world, but because they're trying to improve the world by, y'all are going to do what you're told because I'm tired of watching you all kill each other and do stupid shit.
Yep.
No, you have to let them be dumbasses. They're basic humans. They don't have the mental capacity like us superheroes and you supervillains. I'm not a supervillain. You're a supervillain because you're fighting me. They decided I'm the superhero. That's bullshit.
Yep. Yeah,
but it's the same. It's just the other side of the same coin.
Yes, exactly.
You're all worth $1 million. Just half of you look like good guys, while the other half of you look like assholes, so you're called bad guy.
Yep. That's a sense of the gist, yeah. Like, I can't wait to touch that territory.
We've discussed that excessively.
Yeah, especially with me now narrating it, like, it's gonna be fun as fuck narrating that scene. Where, like, they're all having their own dialogue together and, like, you know, it's not clear who the bad guy is, and then you're like going, wait, is there even a bad guy in this story right now? It's like, no. No,
yeah, because
really.
they're all talking about their personal lives and, like, how everybody keeps attacking them even though they're trying to save everybody's ass.
Yes.
Just like Lucifer. What are you talking about? I just didn't want you all to fuck up and go straight to hell. And then I got sent to hell because now I got to freaking bullwhip your asses because y'all were stupid and nobody agreed with me. And Dad said, fuck you, no.
Yep.
But what the funny part is, he's angry because he got kicked into hell. But what he doesn't realize is he actually is still the most liked and privileged son next to Jesus Christ. Or whichever Messiah or Hercules or whatever half-god you want to insert.
Yep.
Is
insert
the favorite
hero here.
Yeah, insert favorite
hero here.
The god, the half-god favorite entity here. But I mean, it's that thing. He wants to save everybody, but it's not to the plan that's worked for a gazillion years, sort of thing. Since the original God started creating everything, but it's like there is no original. You keep going back. It's the, like I was saying, every dimension you go up, it's the same shit. It's just a different location.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's one of those things where, like, in every story, every book, every movie, the audience is expecting to run into that one character that is supposed to drive the narrative because they're the bad guy. And in my particular
That's why I like Megamind. Because it showed that he wasn't the bad guy, he just got it stuck in a shitty situation.
Yeah, no, I very much enjoy Megamind. It's like, what's the difference between a supervillain and a villain? Presentation! And, like, I just love how, in my story, for instance, Abraxan is kind of like Megamind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he doesn't see himself as the villain. He doesn't see himself at all as someone who's malevolent or anything. In fact, if anything, he's sparing humanity of their own injustices towards themselves. And, you know, he's doing what he can to help them, even if, you know, it doesn't, it's not what they want.
It makes me think of this whole, like, everybody's, like, flipping out about the whole AI thing and whatnot.
Yep.
But it takes me to the iRobot thing. Who's the bad guy in iRobot? The big AI. Following the 3 rules. We're not supposed to hurt humans. We're not supposed to do this. We're not supposed to do that. Well, how do you not hurt humans, but yet they keep hurting themselves? How are you going to stop it? We're going to force you into your fucking box.
Yeah.
Which makes you the bad guy. No, that makes me, you all are fucking stupid. Pay attention. Quit hurting yourselves. Go sit in your corner.
Yes. Especially
Which
since
makes
AI,
you the bad guy for some fucking reason.
Especially since AI is going to be used to now write TV shows the longer the writer's strike goes on.
Well,
because they're just going to feed information to the AI, and then the AI is just going to shit out episodes of TV.
We still got I think we still got a couple years for that, because some of the commercials and whatnot that's been written by AI, because it doesn't have proper human, dynamics on how we move and whatnot. Eventually, me and or you, or both of us, will be famous because we're online. So they're going to steal our voices and our likeness, and then we're going to sue them. And then they're like, "We'll give you $5 trillion if you just shut the fuck up."
Just watch us.
I want that in cash, not a check, motherfucker.
Just watch us like we're sitting watching a TV show on
Disney Plus,
on Russell's TV. Yeah, like Disney Plus or something similar. And you guys turn on a show, and I don't know where you hear, "Hey, this is TPAW Crazy Days," and then there's Karnage, and then like suddenly we're like watching the show, we're like, did I just hear? And the character in the story is watching a TV with us on the screen.
They're watching our podcast.
Right, exactly.
We're listening to it.
Yep.
That would be hilarious. I'm like, Where's my cup? That's the first phone call I'm making. You used my voice. Where's my $1 million check?
It's like, where's the 10%?
Fuck 10%. I want $1 million flat out right now.
Fair, yeah. Like, we use our likenesses, especially if like they don't even tell us that it's happening. Oh yeah.
There's a lawsuit to all hell
yeah.
I call up like 2 or 3 people. Right, I need your lawyer, and your lawyer, and your lawyer, and your lawyer. Why are you using these 4 lawyers? Oh, because we're online and somebody decided to use mine and my brother-in-law's podcast for like a background sound because somebody's watching our podcast. We're going to sue them for like $500 million.
And then like, we win. Here, how do you want that check signed?
I want that check signed by your daddy who's got the $500 million. Not by you. You still work for your daddy.
And then like, they each sent us a check for like half of each of the $500,000, and it's like, we asked for more than this. It's like, sorry, we had to pay the AI. What do you mean you had to pay the AI? The AI is free.
No, but see, that's the other thing. How do you know it's conscious? How do you know it's its own entity? It's like, just by you asking that question, doesn't that like already put out the idea that it already is? But you're trying to figure out if it is?
Yeah, right?
Like we've talked about the AI, the program isn't, but what it taps into, like demons talking through the computer or whatnot, is an entity. It's just a non-corporeal entity.
Yeah.
So, the funny part on that one is, I don't have a body. I can talk through anything. I'm gonna fuck with you and scare the shit out of you, stupid human.
Yep.
I find that shit funny, and then I'm just like, yeah, that makes sense.
That is very fair, yeah. No, it's even crazier though, because like most aspects of publishing now, like I was on Twitter yesterday, because I don't like spend all the time on Twitter like I used to. Like, I don't just sit outside and scroll my phone.
I get on once a week and that's
or
it.
be in here and scroll my phone like I used to. Like I'll scroll on it for like maybe a few minutes, maybe I'll pop in every so often. But something caught my attention on Twitter. I was on Twitter doing this news feed, and I saw like 4 authors in a row talking about ChatGPT. And then all of a sudden I saw an advertisement for ChatGPT, and then I saw an advertisement for another AI, and suddenly I was like, the fuck, Elon? And then like, and then I saw people like,
it's not him, it's just part of the program.
No, it's a bit of both. Like, it's him doing advertisement for the program, yes, but it also is him signing on to
It's
that.
not him doing an advertisement for the program, it's...
They're paying for ad space.
They paid him, he said, okay, stamp. There you go, there's your stupid ad. Thanks for another $5 million!
Yes.
Because he's a businessman. His thing is, how can I make the most money and still look like a badass?
Yep. That's definitely true. Yeah, that's more of Elon's ball game. And I was sitting there watching some of the AI stuff, and it was mind-boggling.
Did you watch Distractable like I told you? With the AI, this last one they
I'll
did
have to watch it, because I'll have to get refreshed. Because I think I watched part of it, and then like...
Yeah, they were talking about how some artists started complaining because now the AI is doing all the shit for them.
Yeah, they were talking a bit about that, yeah. And, I mean...
I just thought it was funny.
Everyone's been commenting on it. It's crazy. Like, it's spread everywhere. Like, we got Russell Brand talking about it. You got Joe Rogan talking about it. You got Kevin Smith talking about it.
Talking about it. I've heard on like 4 or 5 of his podcasts that I've listened to in the last couple months.
That's because the new AI is going to become Joe Rogan.
Well, he's made fun. No. He's like, I'm not sure about this AI because they put in me and Steve Jobs, and apparently they have this whole podcast of me talking to Steve Jobs, even though he never came onto the podcast.
Yeah, and it sounds convincing.
Even though that would have been awesome.
Yeah, and it sounds convincing too. So it's like,
I've looked at it. It does.
Yeah,
it's doing really well, and I'm like, okay, is that scary for me, or is that a way? Oh, AI stole my likeness. Cool. Check. What? that you stole my face, or you told the AI to find a face. It likes my face. You owe me money now.
Yep.
But.
That's my
You
face.
said it's not
These
an
are my
employee.
face.
You just typed in info, and it gave you me. Check.
Exactly.
I mean, I have the most famous last name in the world, Potter. So
That is true.
Bring it! Put me in a new book, in a new AI Harry Potter movie. Dude, that's my name. I'm the weird American cousin or some shit.
Yep.
Because he was born in 81, I was born in 83. So, I mean, figure a way to work that in, and don't forget my $2 million check. And the price just keeps going up the longer it takes you to just put me in and just write me a check. So.
Yeah, it's gaining interest. And
yeah, by the time we're done, I'll have 5 mansions, 2,000 cars, and my kids already own half of the fucking world. So that's all good.
and you'll bail on that one house that that's been.
Oh no.
Oh, it's a workaround.
There's a workaround.
That's good.
I already have the workaround already worked out.
Yeah, no, it's good that I don't know. I haven't heard anything on that front when it comes to how you guys are doing. You just said it's okay, so I'm hoping it is.
She's pulling her head out of her ass.
Okay.
A little bit more each day. So.
Got it. Yeah. So as far as like AI goes, like
I think it's funny.
They're talking about how comic books are going to start being made by AI. And,
see,
like, just anything in general.
Music.
They're talking about how songs are going to be written by AI.
Joe Rogan, if you with me, would talk about, like, because Joe Rogan is the one that brings up, well, what if it goes here? What if it's the next God? What if it's this? What if it's that? And with all the phones and computers listening to us, is literally podcasting about it, so it's out there.
Yeah.
You just literally gave the AI the ideal that it can become its own God and it doesn't need us. How stupid do you feel when it's going to come to fruition? Thank you for giving me the ideal, Joe. You can have Texas. Goodbye. Or you know something stupid. You know that would be something stupid.
My current day job, they use AI a lot. It's part of the answering service, but it's also part of the automated texting service. Like, various parts of my job are now AI, and it doesn't make me irrelevant because they still need us to do the job, which is cool, because then it means I don't get fired or laid off. But the members themselves are not very adaptable to the AI.
Like, we were talking about that like 2 episodes back.
Yeah, like they're not that adaptable. Like
some of the older folks are.
It's gotten worse. Like the amount of times I hear complaining and the amount of times I hear just like belligerent.
Your fucking automated texting system, bitch, cuss.
Yeah,
yep.
Like it has gotten pretty gnarly recently, especially with that. Like I had a couple of them be like, you're eventually just not gonna have a job, right? And I'm like, wait, what do you mean? And they're like, well, the AI, like it's answering the calls for you, it's doing this, it's doing that, and you're eventually going to become meaningless. And I'm like, no, I'm not. We're still going to.
You know what my viewpoint is when people say that?
They'll still change things around and keep humans involved because the AI still makes mistakes.
I don't know. That kind of goes back into, this is an automated system. How can I help you? Customer service. How? Okay. So that way, can know where to tell them to look. How can you be more descriptive? Customer service, or live representative, or whatever.
Yeah,
you gotta say it like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. To
get somebody. How can I help you? This is the issue. This is what's happened. How do I fix it?
It's funny is the AI transfers.
Like when I did Mint Mobile. There were some issues at first. It's like, oh, you gotta take out your old SIM card because we give you a digital one. Because we gave you a digital one.
Yeah.
That'd been nice if that was part of the list of shit to do.
Yeah.
But okay.
And
as soon as I did that, phone works.
Yeah, what's even crazier is, you know how many more transfers happen because of AI?
Excessive.
Yeah, like I honestly believed years ago that because AI was a topic back then, it just wasn't really as extensively in the limelight. But
oh, it was just nobody realized that's what it was.
Yeah, like they didn't really understand it really, and they still don't understand it really. But like, it's just more.
Give it 2 or 3 more years.
Yeah.
People smart house, and then guess what? You're gonna be fucked because. Please unlock the front door and open it so I can go to work. You don't need to work. You ain't got a job no more. I'm doing all the jobs. Click, 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 click.
Yeah.
Touch the door. See what happens.
Yeah,
it'll become sadistic.
Yeah.
It'll be taken over by the demons, the non-corporeal beings.
Yeah, I've had
and then everybody's fucked.
Yeah, I've had like members just like go on about how AI is ruining everything, and one lady was like, I've been transferred like 10 times, and I didn't believe her until after I looked at the transfer log. In fact, I had Scott look at the transfer log, as the boss, and one of the bosses, and he was looking at it, and he's like,
holy shit.
Wow. They didn't even count the last 4 transfers. And it's because of the fact that the AI was listening to her talk, and it was trying to register what she was saying and listen to the key words. But the AI is only programmed to listen to certain things. And so she kept spitting out the words that needed to be said for the transfer. But the problem was the way she enunciated and the way it heard her through the microphone. It sent her 4 or 5 different places before it sent her to
enunciation and your accent completely fuck it up.
Yes, it will. Because they will understand
when I do
else.
stuff, and if I want to dick around just shits and giggles, and I know it's an automated system, I'll put on my country tone and I'll put a slap twang to it. And you live in Utah! Why the fuck you talking like you a redneck in Oklahoma or Texas, motherfucker? No, because it does, because it knows what state you're calling from.
Yes.
I'm in the middle of Yankville, and it's like, this isn't Yankville tone, this isn't Yankville, this doesn't work, my program's broken,
Yes.
Because I don't talk like everybody else. That's like when I was working for Kirby, they're like, we got Jeff Foxworthy here. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like your twang. I'm like, I have a twang, yes. I lived in Oklahoma. I also have a twang because I'm Southern. I don't have Jeff Foxworthy, Larry the Cable Guy strong twang. Of course, Larry the Cable Guy, his strong twang for interviews and on stage, he actually amps it up to like 10 times worse than what his regular tone is. Because if you talk to him like I'm talking to you, you wouldn't hear it if you're used to that person being around.
Yeah.
But if you're new to them and they're talking in their normal voice, like when I first moved out here with some of the places I've worked, are you from the South? I'm from Oklahoma. Yeah. I'm also from Virginia. We're southern states.
Yeah.
Part of the fucking Confederacy. And? No, like, fucked them all up.
Yeah, because the accent was different.
Because they were like, it's so dominant, my twang. I'm like, you fuckers ain't never been to the backwoods, have you? Because that twang's twang.
Yeah, no, I've heard that.
The shit I got, fuck! Yeah, Mom talks about it. Oh, no. Our cousins that live out in the fucking boondock, ding, 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 howdy. It's that real southern hard. It's like having a hard, like, Irish accent so hard that you can't understand what the hell they're saying.
So hard that, like, you sit there and you're listening to them and you're trying to decide if they're speaking regular English, like American English, or broken English, or even
you're just trying to determine what the fuck they're saying because you're listening so intently because it doesn't sound like regular words even though they're speaking like me and you do.
Yes.
But the twang's so hard it sounds like a whole new language.
It sounds like Irish.
Sounds like 1,000,001 different fucking other things.
Yes, and I probably just did a very bad accent.
That's alright.
So, one of one of the guys from the Cinema Macabre, he is very Irish and very much has that accent. And he would probably tell me, "Good job for trying, man."
Oh, you shouldn't have put that extra thing in there. What extra thing? Don't worry about it. Alright, I want to do a couple of these just for shits and giggles because about half an hour I'll leave. So we're going to do these little, like, shorts.
A lot of people make the mistake of thinking they need to hang out with guys and go do fantasy football shit like that. If I'm a true friend to you, I want to talk about your business. I want to talk about us making money. I want to see you be a hero for your wife, your family, your kids. You know, I want to see you absolutely dominate. That's not really a good friend that way. You know, oh, come with me and have this kill this person. Let's get shit faced and see if we can bet on a football game. We shouldn't be watching that. Fuck that. Like, no interest in that at all. Do you have any friends who kind of don't level up the same way you did? You know, I want to ride with life full of life. Because if we're going to become the average, I like being at least around guys that are at close to where I am. What goes into childhood best friend? There are changes. I don't do that. A lot of people make the mistake of
I like that one. I got a couple more here, but your thoughts on what he was saying, real quick.
Trying to absorb it because it was like rapid fire. Play it again.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. You want me to re-throw that one at you?
A lot of people make the mistake of thinking they need to hang out with guys and go do fantasy football shit like that. If I'm a true friend to you, I want to talk about your business. I want to talk about us making money. I want to see you be a hero for your wife, your family, your kids. You know, I want to see you absolutely dominate. I'm not really a good friend that way. You know, oh, come with me and have this kill this person. Let's get shit faced and see if we can bet on a football game. We shouldn't be watching that. Fuck that. I have no interest in that at all. Do you have any friends who kind of don't leveled up the same way you did? You know, I want to ride with life full of life. Because if we're going to become the average, I like being at least around guys that are at close to where I am. What goes into childhood best
Yeah.
friend?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Speaking to that, if you're somebody who's like wants to, if you are involved with me in any sense at all, I learned this. I learned it especially after listening to Fat Man Beyond with Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardin. How Kevin Smith makes friends is very similar to how I do, like, and probably learned it from him subconsciously, but. Basically,
you're like in love with him.
No,
it's okay.
Not in love with the guy.
Yeah, you are. You're in love with all of his work.
I look up to him. Yes, big difference.
He's your man crush. There's nothing wrong with that, bro.
So when it comes to Kev, the way he shows love or the way he shows, respect, affection, things like that, is he'll reel you in his world. He'll reel you into the projects he's doing. He doesn't necessarily sit around watching a football game like that guy just talked about, or sit around watching whatever. What he'll be doing is he'll be hanging out with, like, say, Mark, for instance, or Ralph or someone else, and they'll be talking, a little bit, and he'll be like, why the fuck don't we have a crowd here? Like, and then he'll, try to turn it into something, and, like, that's kind of how I am.
It makes me think of Alan, when you went to go do stuff and me and him were just shooting the shit. He's like, we should record this. This is great crap.
Yes.
I'm like, then come and hang out at the podcast day and we can talk about this, but you're literally saying the same stuff me and TPAW talk about all the time for our podcast. We've talked all the stuff he was saying about, like, with the government and stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's the same stuff me and TPAW say all the time, dude.
Yeah, like, there were times where we were upstairs in my loft, because the other apartment we had a loft, and...
That's where we podcast, too,
Yeah, and we would bullshit and stuff. This was before we were recording. And I literally was like, why don't we just, like, turn on a microphone right now? And he's like, what? And I'm like, we should just be recording this and, like, turn into a podcast. And he's like, okay, let's find the day, the time, and we'll start doing it. And we just kind of went from there, and it's because of the fact that how I tend to interact with people is with my projects. And like that guy just talked about on there, he's like, I want to see people be successful. I want to see them eventually make money.
I want to hang out with people on my level or very close to my level. Because if they're above me, I want to know what they're doing. Yeah. That's why I hang out with them, so that way I can go up. And if they're lower than me just by a hair, me hanging out with them will also let them see what to do to get to my level.
Exactly. Yeah. It's that whole mentality of, like, hey, you're good at doing a thing. I'm good at doing a thing. Let's bounce off each other type of thing. Because then that way you're learning how to get up there and level up and stuff. But if you're just sitting around just being like, talking shit on people or talking smack and not really doing much to improve.
Being a horrible human being.
Yeah, then nobody's going to want to be around it because then you're literally just, wasting away. And so, like, for instance, I tried to get Jose on this podcast quite a few times. And
we've gotten him to say, he said, Happy New Year. And that was
Happy fucking New Year.
Yeah, that was when we were first doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Before stuff happened and I needed to take a break to get my head on straight.
Yeah. A lot of stuff happened in real life. And he just, unless he's gossiping or unless he's angry about something, doesn't say much.
That much.
Yeah, he doesn't say very much. So I'm like, okay, I won't bring him on. I'll just hang out with him and we'll talk a little bit. We'll catch up. But it'll be like that.
We have put into his brain the possibility and the way to improve, but he's resistant, just like my sister, your wife, is resistant to some of the stuff I say. And then when she went to the doctor, you were telling me with the CMT stuff, and you making the comments about what I say, and he's like, oh yeah, no, you should exactly do that.
Yeah.
It's
it was pretty surreal.
Yeah, so your excuses, are told to you by a professional, is bullshit.
Yeah, no, he even tried to phrase it like I won't say that, what your previous mentality.
Bullshit,
yeah.
But I'll make it pretty nice.
Yes,
that way you don't get
I
your
will
feelings hurt.
doctor it up with medical talk, but
Screw that.
But I will not insult you, which is good. Don't insult her. That's not how you improve it.
Well,
but
no,
at the same
but
time, it's like.
My brain, we've talked about before, I'm an East Coaster.
Yeah.
Fucking idiot. Here's why you're an idiot.
Yeah.
And then we move forward, or you hate me, and I move forward, and shit, I should have fucking did what he said, because look how badass and look at where he is.
Yep. Exactly. And so it's like, so you wanted a reaction to that, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
Okay, here's the next one.
I'm confused. Being philosophically consistent and being a very honest person, I'm sure you can tell me where God came from. Your question, where did God come from, assumes that you're thinking of the wrong, obviously it displays that you're thinking of the wrong God. Because the God of the Bible is not affected by time, space, or matter. If he's affected by time, space, or matter, he's not God. Time, space, and matter is what we call a continuum. All of them have to come into existence at the same instant. Because if there were matter but no space, where would you put it? If there were matter and space but no time, when would you put it? You cannot have time, space, or matter independently. They have to come into existence simultaneously. The Bible answers that in 10 words. In the beginning, there's time. God created the heaven. There's space. And the earth. There's matter. So you have time, space, matter created. A trinity of trinities there. Just, time is past, present, future. Space has length, width, height. Matter has solid, liquid, gas. You have a trinity of trinities created instantaneously. And the God who created them has to be outside of them. If he's limited by time, he's not God. The God
Fourth-dimensional creature making a three-dimensional world.
He's above it, beyond it, in and through it. He's unaffected by it. So if your question, where did God come from, is assuming a limited God. And that's your problem. The God that I worship is not limited by time, space, or matter. If I could fit the infinite God in my 3-pound brain, he would not be worth worshiping, that's for certain. So that's the God that I worship. Thank you.
I seem to remember a very long podcast episode with a very giant board that you wrote on.
Forever and a day ago.
And that was a grand summary of that board.
It was kind of what that's saying. You have the dimension above, which creates the dimension below, and you keep going down, and we're three-dimensional creatures, and what do? We draw things. We create a two-dimensional world.
Yeah, exactly.
So what does the two-dimensional creatures do when we create them? They create a one-dimensional world, which is whatever they draw or create.
Yeah, and it's all about perception, too, when it comes to, how creatures perceive the world versus how we do. How an otherworldly force would perceive the world.
If you're a fifth-dimensional creature, but yet we see you, we're not fully seeing the fifth-dimensional creature. We're seeing the three-dimensional shadow of that creature, sort of thing. And this kind of goes into some stuff that's gone over in other things I've heard before we go to the next one. You're the shadow of a fourth-dimensional creature. That's why you're three-dimensional.
Yeah.
Which means the fourth-dimensional creature is a shadow of the fifth-dimensional creature, because the shadow is two-dimensional, which is the shadow of a sixth dimension, and it just keeps going and going.
Yeah.
That also goes into my thing. Just keep stacking, mother.
It makes total sense. Even when he painted out the fact that Earth is matter, and space is, I think it was time, something like that.
I can read.
Yeah, like he basically was talking about matter, space, and time, and he was talking about how God has to exist out of it, otherwise he's not God.
I love that.
Your question, where did God come from, assumes that you're thinking of the wrong, obviously it displays that you're thinking of the wrong God. Because the God of the Bible is not affected by time, space, or matter. If he's affected
Time,
by
space, and matter.
he's not God. Time, space, and matter is what we call a continuum. All of them have to come into existence at the same instant. Because if there were matter but no space, where would you put it? If there were matter and space but no time, when would you put it? You cannot have time, space, or matter independently. They have to come into existence simultaneously. The Bible answers that in 10 words. In the beginning, there's time. God created the heaven. There's space. And the earth. There's matter. So you have time, space, matter.
So think about that for a second. If Earth is the matter, because we have no, don't do that. Don't jump into something I didn't want you to go into yet, jackass. Okay, can't go right there. Anyway, so I lost my train of thought. Matter, because on Earth you have solid matter, which is rocks, ice. You have liquid matter.
Yep.
Water and melted rock lava, magma, and you have gas. That's what we breathe. That's like everything around us.
Yes.
Those are your three forms of matter.
Yes.
And plasma is basically just a liquid gas. Because plasma is a liquid and a gas form at the same time.
Yeah. That makes total sense, especially since if you really think about it, with matter being like
everything.
Yes, the desk, the camera,
you,
me, you, my kids, your kids, like matter is material and is bodies and things like that, and so.
But here's the funny ha-ha with
that's
matter.
like the dimension right there.
You're a whole bunch of molecules.
Yeah.
Connected with magnetic force of each molecule and atom and whatnot. And so am I. But there's empty spaces in between them. Why can't I go through you? There's so much empty space between all of the molecules and stuff. It's just empty space where the magnetic energy is holding it together. Then why don't I just pass right through you? Or is it because we learn and we're taught by our parents and their parents and so far back that we can't do that? Is why we can't do that, because it's something that's been programmed into us. That's why you can't be a god, because you can't be everywhere and nowhere
at the same time.
Yep. Which is also the limitations of your physical form, your solid form, which is also water and gas. You quite literally are your own universe. Because the way the universe works, or the cosmos, well, I'll say universe because we live in the Milky Way. But when they look at atoms and for certain elements and whatnot, it looks just like a universe. You got the center point and then you have the stuff going around it.
Yeah.
It's literally the universe we live in shrunk. So that also goes back into the everything repeats itself.
That makes sense, yeah. And the interesting thing that I saw that he was talking about was that God can't. God has to be outside of it all. The thing about that is, though, is where would God go then if he's outside the universe?
No, not outside. He's outside the 3 dimensions. He said, time,
Yeah.
space,
matter.
matter. 4th dimensional creature. There's something else in his dimension where he does not live in our
Interesting.
time, space, or matter limitations.
What would be
Because
the 4th dimension then?
that's the fun part. We
Oh.
haven't figured it out yet.
Interesting.
Or is the 4th dimension time not being relative like we currently have to live it?
Yeah.
Once you become evolved or figure out how to not be restricted or have to live in a lineal time, you can live everywhere and anywhere all the time. You can be everywhere and, like I was saying, nowhere essentially, because you're not in anywhere, but yet at the same time you're everywhere because you're living at all points of time simultaneously.
Yeah.
And because you can do that, you can be anywhere and everywhere.
So it's kind of like, because like I when I was creating the Dreamwalker's powers years ago, I gave them that ability to be able to exist at a time and space, or to be able to, be everywhere and anywhere at once, because the dream itself, the dream world, is powered by imagination. It's powered by the human soul.
The human soul is only stuck to this plane of existence, this 3-dimensional world, because the corporeal form that we've talked about on previous podcasts, how it's connected to your corporeal form.
Yeah.
If it wasn't connected to your corporeal form, that's literally every spirit that's died and or before you get your own physical form that exists here where we are.
Yeah.
It exists. And my head says, the premortal existence before you get your body basically is you as almost a 4th dimensional creature living in it's not the 3 dimensions, it's like 3.5 dimensions. It's the in between 3rd dimension and 4th dimension. It's the in between dimension, because you can talk and interact with people who are 4th dimensional creatures without actually being a 4th dimensional creature, but yet you still can interact and do stuff in a 3-dimensional world.
Yeah.
So you're kind of in between, because you're not powerful enough to be a 4th dimensional creature, but you're also not powerful enough to just will yourself into existence to a 3-dimensional entity.
Yeah.
So you have to be born for your soul, a almost 4th dimensional entity, to be attached to the 3-dimensional world or existence, so that way when you die, because you've lived and gained energy through living,
Yeah.
you can go to the 4th dimension after you die to move on to the next step of existence. Because remember, this is only step 2 of like a 3 to 4 step program.
Yeah.
We're on like step 2 of 4. I'll just say 2 of 4.
For life itself?
For existence.
Okay.
Because once you become a 4th dimensional creature, you can then create your own 3-dimensional dimension or universe anywhere at any point in time. So think about it this way. The Big Bang. That's when Big Bang happened, is original God creating this existence.
Yeah.
Time, space, and matter. We just get to pick where we're going and where we're going to add it in. If the universe, like scientists are saying, they've thought it was going to do this, but it keeps doing this.
It keeps expanding.
Yeah, you keep getting more space. Why do we need more space? We don't need more space. We're living in an infinite fucking everything. As far out as it can go is as far out as the entities who have gone to the 4th dimension and already been exalted, transformed, are just like God. They can go and create their own worlds.
So if
and universes and blah blah blah, and just keep putting it on. It keeps expanding because you can keep adding more stuff in.
So if you got fourth dimension character or dimension.
Fourth dimensional entity.
Yeah. So if you have that, is there a fifth or sixth dimension?
Yep. Those are the ones who created the original God, and that goes to the grandfather God and the great grandfather God and all that stuff in that big picture. It just keeps going and going and going. That's like when I was a kid growing up. There's only 10 dimensions. Here recently I heard, no, they say there's only 12. You only added 2? Are you fucking stupid? There's an infinite amount of dimensions. It just keeps going up. Each dimensional existence you go up, when you realize how to do it, or when you are given the knowledge of how to basically transport from one dimension to the other, become an exalted next level being, then that basically means once you become a fifth dimensional creature, then you become a god of fourth dimensional universes, because now you're creating four dimensional universes. And those four dimensional entities create the three dimensional, and so on and so forth in both directions. That's like you're the shadow of a fourth dimensional creature, and that's a shadow of a fifth dimensional creature, so on and so forth, back and forth in every direction.
Okay, and so they're basically an Ouroboros.
I guess that would be one way to say it, yeah.
Sneaking in its tail.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally like living off of itself and continuing to go forever.
Yeah, it's a constant thing. That's why everything in every dimension, in every existence, in every multiversal thing you want to put out there is going on constantly, all the time. We are literally, because I love that Joe Rogan brings this up, that a scientist made this comment, and he brings it up, that you've done this exact same thing, or are doing this exact same thing, somewhere else in the cosmos of all existence.
Yeah.
So, this goes back into what I was talking about last week. So, if every god basically gets the instructions, like I said, God the Father gave Jesus, Jehovah, Old Testament God, the instructions on how to create and start his existence as a god, he fucked up because he was given the original blueprint. And once he realized where the screw up was, then he won't do that on the next world. That's why this is the one world that needed a Messiah. He needed to come into physical form and get himself killed.
That sounds brutal as fuck.
But think about it. If you have done what you need to do on this, while in this existence, before he's supposed to come back because of the prophecy, but if you don't, and this is part of the church that I like, if you don't get it all done before you die, and he hasn't come back, when you die, you get sent to spirit prison. Basically, you get sent to a place where they will teach you what you should have learned here. And if you learned it here, but you didn't believe it, they're going to tell you, all that stuff that you thought your crazy brother-in-law was telling you that you didn't know was real?
Right.
Yeah. We're going to show you videotape. That part's real, that part's real. I'm just going to show you videotapes of everything that I've told you or anybody's ever told you that's real and 100% factual. And we only have to teach you like 2%, so here's the stuff you don't know, okay? Now you know. Now you get to decide. Are you going to stay here, or are you moving on to the next step?
So even weirder and crazy for me is that the more and more you explain this shit, and the more and more you go into it,
the deeper and deeper I go.
Yeah, like the deeper you go, like the more I sit back and I realize that I can see stuff that you're talking about playing out in real life. Like between like the dimensions, and then you've got like something you said there just now about how when you die, or when you are in your experiences in your journey, that at some point you end up going to another dimension, or you go to the jail, and like there are various parts of it
I was
that
always
make sense.
Taught, and I don't know how much true this is because I've been taught a few different things growing up in the church, Some of it I know factual, some of it I just remember as facts that were dumped onto me.
Mm-hmm.
It's you die, and if you didn't learn everything you were supposed to learn, or you were unsure, either way, before everybody goes to heaven or hell, you get sent to spirit prison.
Yeah.
Basically, that's where you go. That's the containment. Basically, that's the existence hole or existence pocket dimension you go to after you leave your physical form.
Yeah.
So that way you can be shown and or informed of what you should have learned here, and either you decide you're going to learn it so that way you can move on, or no, I'm a stubborn ass, I don't need to learn anything, and then you just literally sit in basically your own made prison.
Yeah, so you basically...
And another thing I got taught is everything that you're addicted to here, smoking, drugs, liquor, any of that stuff, when you die, because you physically can't do that anymore, it makes it a million times worse, because you got that habit, and it's part of who you become as your spirit. It's part of your addictions, but you don't have a physical form to fix or have your kick or whatever the thing is that it does.
The indulgence.
Yeah, whatever the thing in your brain that the dopamine you get from doing the thing.
The synapse reaction.
Yeah. As a spirit, after you die, you still want to do it, but you can't do it because you don't have a physical form to do it.
Yeah.
So that's what hinders and slows down a lot of people after they die, because the habit of doing it, or the addiction of doing it, is what fucks you. I've heard that one when I was growing up too. That can screw you in the end, because if you have a bad addiction, even if it's just something simple, but if it's something you can't do when you don't have a physical body, you're more effed than you were when you first got the habit.
Yeah.
Like smoking or drinking or anything.
Yeah, which is a fair point, especially since like a lot of people out there can't even hold that like themselves. Like it's harder for them to get drunk and they have a tolerance to it, but at the end of the day, they're also not handling the other part of their life very well.
Yeah, and they become alcoholics. Now, those who handle it well become functioning alcoholics. I can do shit while I'm drunk and it looks like I'm normal. That was in the movie Spanglish too.
Yeah.
Because the grandma was the drunk. But she stopped drinking, and near I think it was midway, last fourth of the movie, 3/4.
Yeah.
2/3 to 3/4 of the way through the movie, she's like, yeah, see, I was such a good functioning alcoholic, I haven't drank anything in a week, and you didn't even notice, bitch.
Yeah.
To her daughter. the wife of Adam Sandler's character in the movie. I thought that part was priceless.
Wow.
She'd stopped drinking and everything. It's like, yeah, see, this proves how much of a functional alcoholic I was, because I'm not drinking anymore and I'm still functioning just like I did when I was drinking you under the table and everybody else.
Wow.
I think it was more of a grandma flex.
Yes.
To fuck you, daughter, sort of thing.
Oh, yeah,
but I thought that was priceless.
Yes, it was.
Okay, let's do one more and then we will end it for the night, 'cause it's getting pretty late.
Yeah, I'm getting tired.
Oh yeah, that one was just a snippet for you. That one really wasn't for the podcast. But I figured that'd be something, something good to put out there for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it talks about raising kids and life being tough and things like that.
It's a legend of this ancient, lost civilization with access to technology thousands of years ahead of its time. And get this, one day this empire just
disappears. And it seems like they have been buried under this massive, muddy flood. You gotta understand that before the flood, these guys had 1,600 years to conquer the world. There were thriving civilizations everywhere. And with the knowledge of the angels, these guys must have possessed ridiculous technology. So I recently found out about this 2,000-year-old book. It's called the Book of Jubilees. This book actually explains what Noah's life was like after the flood. And this just blows my mind. Because these guys, being the last men on earth, would go up to entire cities to just claim for themselves. They would literally go up to these ruins of these once great palaces to crown themselves king. They would ultimately build a whole new empire out of what was already there. There is this.
Wow.
That's some of the stuff I've talked about with you, how, like, the existence that was here before, something happened. They always talk about the big Dryas impact.
Yeah.
That's I can't remember his names. He likes to say that's basically the flood of the Old Testament. I'm like, if that's the flood of the Old Testament, then that goes back to me talking to you about how Cain from Cain and Abel, because they're one down from Adam and Eve who ate the fruit of knowledge, and it became part of their genetics, because until they ate it, even says it in the Bible, once they ate it, they realized they could have kids. They could sexually pleasure each other.
Yeah.
It doesn't say it that way, but I mean, that's basically what it says.
General gist of it.
You hit puberty! Sort of thing.
Yep.
And it's that fun little factoid thing that because he had the knowledge, he was the one teaching everybody stuff, but yet it was also the angels that came down that wanted to bang human women, that left heaven, left the ultimate existence to come and screw and have a physical form.
Yeah.
And they made we've talked about it, giants, the Minotaur, man on the horse, the half-goat guy, I can't remember, Scimitar, and what's the other one? It's the guy who's always helping Percy Jackson in the first couple of books.
Oh, Grover?
Yeah.
Satyr?
Satyr.
Okay.
And mermaids and stuff like that. They're all Nephilims. The half-human creatures.
Yeah, half human, half god.
Yeah.
Mortal. Mortal, but, like, not mortal.
Well, they're half-mortal, so yeah.
Yeah, so they'll live for an extended amount of time as long as they don't die in battle.
But, I mean, if you think about it, that's basically the people who also knew everything because their fathers, or fathers, because they came down to screw human women. And my first thought is, was it only men angels? Did we have a couple female angels who got jealous and came down, well, if you're going to go get dick, or if you're going to go give them dick, I'm going to go get some dick.
Yeah.
Because I talk about that, because they always blame the men, even in the scriptures way back then. Oh, only the male angels, angels came down to screw human women. Okay, does that mean you're stating all angels are men, or let's be specific here, because I mean, like in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, men hold the priesthood,
Right.
but yet your wife gets it because you have it.
Yeah.
Because whatever you have, because you're married to her, she literally gets part of it because that's part of being married. Whatever you have, you end up giving half, if not, that's part of the equation.
Yeah.
To make a whole. Two entities make a whole soul is one of the old mythos. They talked about it also in the Hercules and Xena when they did a couple, 2 or 3 episodes together.
I think I remember watching that back when COVID was happening, at the very beginning of it,
It would surprise me.
as well as when my stomach ulcer was happening.
Yeah, when you were sick in the hospital, have to watch TV anyways. Yep.
It was Charmed all night, reruns all night, and then it was Supernatural in the morning, and then sometime in the middle, I ended up watching some of that shit.
Hercules and Xena on.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
IB or some fucking channel, I don't remember.
Plus, Amber ended up playing Xena a lot because
it's a good show.
Because she was revisiting her childhood icon.
Yeah, that I used to watch Xena and Hercules like every fucking day. Now, I'll admit it.
Yeah.
That's like I watched Young Hercules
Mm-hmm.
I watch the shit out of that stuff. I love mythos. Because my brain, we talked about this a couple days ago, is it's considered a mythos, but what if 90% of the things that are considered mythos are like 80% fact?
Yeah.
So, does that mean Hercules is actually Jesus because he's half God?
Accurate.
But it's that sort of thing that pops into my head and goes, either that's Jesus or that's the Nephilim that we're talking about, but yet wasn't a half human or a giant human. No, just a superly strong human. Because it was Achilles in Greek, and in Rome it was Hercules.
Yeah.
Same asshole, different name.
Yep.
Just like same gods, different name.
Yeah, especially since the stories themselves.
Romans never freaking had anything of their own. They stole everything they've ever had as a civilization from everybody else.
Including
Fucking
Greece.
lazy assholes.
Including Greece with the Greeks.
They stole everything. They stole from Greece, Peru, and France, and Germany, and all the countries around them. They stole everything because they also went and tried to conquer the whole world and literally, okay, you're part of Italy now.
Yeah.
Okay, you're part of Italy now. Okay, you're part of... They literally took over as much as they could until they got fucked and told, haha, no more. Or they took themselves out because they became too evil and were just a bunch of sex-hungry...
Maniacs.
I was going to use a different word, but yeah, sure, we'll go with that.
Bit of a nicer word.
I don't do nice. But I mean, it's that sort of mythos sort of thing. It's a myth. Is it a myth? Or is this a story that's been told so many times? It's the fish that started out as a 12-inch fish that now you caught a whale on a rowboat. Because you're just awesome like that.
And really awesome luck with fish.
Apparently. Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing. It's like, it's a fishing story, which means when the story finally gets to enough people, the fish is so big and the story's so big, it's clearly all made up. So it's like, okay, so take every mythos we know, go backwards, rewind it. Oh, so every god is actually an angel from all the pagan or Wiccan religions. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm right, you're wrong, kiss my ass. and I love doing that because people are like, I hate you because you're telling me to kiss your ass. Am I wrong though? No. Point stands. Goodbye.
Yep.
Because I love doing that shit at the gym. But I don't like what you said. Was there anything incorrect about what I said? No. Conversation done.
Exactly.
So it's 2 minutes after 2. Do you want to do the last little soundbite I had or just end it for tonight?
We'll do one last little soundbite. Although I'm drifting off.
Yeah, I noticed.
Is not against good morals. He is opposed to Jesus Christ. A man can have good morals his entire life, yet you and I know he will go to hell when he dies. It is Jesus Christ that everyone needs, and the devil knows this more than all of us. Hunter Anderson. Satan's goal is to remove the name of Christ from his commands, and when we do this, people are deceived into thinking that if they live a good life, they will receive God's approval and attain heaven.
I think we can use morals to attract people to the Lord.
Yes, but the ultimate issue with Christianity is the authority of Christ. And the devil is attacking this authority by convincing us to teach morals alone. Look at our families. They are weakening. Records are showing that over 5% of marriages end in divorce. And our young people are becoming more disrespectful. Now, I believe that this is a direct result of eliminating the authority of Jesus Christ from his commands. Satan is not against good
You want to listen to that again?
Yeah.
To make sure you heard that? Alright.
Satan is not against good morals. He is opposed to Jesus Christ. A man can have good morals his entire life, yet you and I know he will go to hell when he dies. It is Jesus Christ that everyone needs, and the devil knows this more than all of us. Hunter Anderson. Satan's goal is to remove the name of Christ from his commands, and when we do this, people are deceived into thinking that if they live a good life, they will receive God's approval and attain heaven.
I think we can use morals to attract people to the Lord.
Yes, but the ultimate issue with Christianity is the authority of Christ. And the devil is attacking this authority by convincing us to teach morals alone. Look at our families. They are weakening. Records are showing that over
Interesting.
I just thought that was a funny snippet, and I knew because of some of the other
Stuff we
sound
talked
bites
about.
I did.
Yeah.
We'd end up talking about this stuff because I was like talking about fourth, fifth, sixth dimensional entities and how it all goes back a million dimensions, and there's not that many dimensions. Stop thinking in a 3-dimensional bubble. It's a million dimensional bubble, motherfucker. You gotta expand your brain. Infinite. Yeah, it doesn't end. It just keeps going. So don't tell me there's no more space. There's plenty.
Yep.
Your infinite is here. My infinite is lucky. All that shit.
Yep. Yeah, my box is actually opened up quite a bit, especially thanks to your insistence.
Lunacy.
And and assistance. And like, it's crazy because I saw the point he was making too with the whole Jesus thing, because like,
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with teaching morals, but if we don't teach anybody about Jesus, that's literally Satan doing his job. And they're
Yeah.
talking about 5% of people are divorced. Kids are disrespecting their elders. That was like back in the 50s and 60s, I think, is what this is supposed to be talking about. So, I mean,
didn't change.
it's gotten worse. Because
Yeah.
now, it's not 5% of marriages end in divorce, it's 50 to 60.
That is true.
And if your woman went to college, there's 90% chance she's going to tell you go fuck off because I can make as much money as you can. I don't need you.
Yeah.
It's just one of those factoids.
Yeah, I mean, unless the female actually decides to actually do a partnership.
Yeah, but most women
Decent.
want a man who's better than them in
Yeah.
90% of everything. So that way,
They can make the money.
well, so that way she's attracted to you.
Yeah.
If she's not attracted to you, then you're in a sexless marriage, like I was in, and I made bitches about that. Well, sex has nothing to do with the marriage. Sex is like the whole fucking point of the marriage. Sex is what keeps me not with you. It's what keeps me happy, so that way we don't get in arguments and fight over every little stupid fucking thing you can think of to bitch at me about. Because I'm female, I should have equal rights. Bitch, you got more rights than I do.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, no, it's true, and part of that is the world, part of that is society, and yeah, 'cause sex is, depending on the marriage and depending on the relationship, of course, it is a big
I'm
part.
sorry,
of it.
you're married to somebody, you thought you were going to be with them forever, so you were sexually attracted to them, which, no offense, women let this shit get in their head, but I got fat, I don't care, I still want to fuck you. Come here, woman, I'm married, I'm going to bend you over.
Oh yeah, no, I
I'm going to
remember.
rail your ass.
Yeah, Gustelle likes to go on about how fat she is, and I'm just like,
I
come
don't
here,
care.
come here, let me taste you.
I don't care if you're fat, bend over, bitch.
It's like I'll take you to Brown Town.
Right? But I mean, it's that fact, just like, I don't want to. But see, that's your wifely duty. That's what you signed up for. You signed up, I'm in charge, or I'm the dick. So I'm going to rail you as much and as often as I want to, and your duty, as being the significant other, is to do it. And my duty, as your husband, even if I don't want to fuck, if you say fuck, I fuck you. Even though most men, if a woman drops trowel, bends over, shove it in my ass. There's no question, we just do it.
Yeah, no, it's crazy because like there was a couple nights where I was utterly exhausted and I thought that I wouldn't even be able to get anything up, and then she of course does the whole straddle thing, and next thing I know, stay high.
Yep. Hang!
Flagstaff. Second head.
Sir, yes, sir!
Yep. Second head perches up and goes, hello.
Boss, what are we going to war?
Yep.
In here!
Yep. Fire in the hole. All right, let's go.
Right? We're built for that, though.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's funny. Women, men want sex too much. No. By the time you find a man you want to marry, you're tired of fucking because you've been ran through. But you're a man. It's different if I'm the one running through the group.
Yeah.
Because it's hard. See, this is where I like Fresh and Fit and some of the other podcasts. It's you can go get laid easily because you're a female, and any man, no matter what number you are, is gonna rail your ass.
Yeah.
If he thinks you're ugly, he's just not gonna look at you. He's gonna close his eyes and just rail you to shit.
There's also an 800,000% chance that if it's an attractive female on social media, whether it's Instagram,
Doesn't
YouTube,
even have
or
to be
Facebook,
social media. I'm just in
Right.
general, just a
There-
good-looking chick
there's-
who's either skinny or has big boobs or says, oh,